Look at you, stuck in the web of procrastination and lacking discipline. It's time to admit that you've been avoiding responsibilities and it's holding you back. Stop sugarcoating your failures with these flimsy excuses. You know very well that laziness and distractions have been ruling your life. You've become complacent with mediocrity, choosing comfort over growth. Well, guess what? Real change demands discomfort, and you must embrace it. Recognize your lack of discipline has cost you precious opportunities. The time wasted cannot be recovered, but you can make amends starting right now. Deep down, you know you have untapped potential. It's time to unleash it and stop hiding behind your procrastination as an excuse. Procrastination is often the result of fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of the unknown. It's time to confront these fears and break free. Sure, discipline might seem like a foreign concept to you right now, but it takes time to face the music and make discipline your new best friend. You've been avoiding accountability, but it's time to take responsibility for your actions. Hold yourself accountable for your progress, or the lack thereof. Feel the weight of regret for all the time wasted and opportunities missed. Let it fuel your determination to change and make the most of every moment moving forward. Change won't happen overnight, and it won't be easy, but you're not looking for easy. You are looking for growth. Embrace the process, and you'll come out stronger. Oh, look at you, drowning in a sea of indecision and inaction. Your inability to make choices or stick to a plan is pathetic. Stop trying to cover up your laziness with those pathetic excuses. Nobody buys them, not even yourself. Just think about all the potential you've wasted by wallowing in your lack of discipline. It's truly, truly sickening. You're nothing more than a slave to comfort and instant gratification. You can't even withstand the slightest bit of discomfort to achieve your goals. Your willpower is laughable. And your mind is even weaker. It's time to toughen up, Buttercup, and take control. While you're busy procrastinating, the world just keeps moving forward. Your lack of discipline is causing you to fall way behind. You've become a master of self-sabotage, always finding ways to hinder your progress. It's time to break free from this vicious cycle. Congratulations, you've built a cozy nest in the land of mediocrity. How does it feel to be just average? Or maybe below average? Way below average. You don't need coddling. You need a reality check. Stop babying yourself and face the truth. You are weak. Enough is enough. Rise from the ashes of your weaknesses and become the disciplined, proactive force you know that you can be. Or don't. And stay exactly as you are.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Space. What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Welcome back to another episode of Software Explorations with yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph. We are in for a treat tonight. We are going to be working on test plans, test scenarios, and test cases. I released a video yesterday going over that, and we are going to get into some live implementation of that tonight. So let's get going. Let me clean off these glasses. How is everybody doing today? Hope everyone had a wonderful day and having a wonderful week. This is my favorite night of the week. Why is that? Because every night is my favorite night of the week. Every day is my favorite day of the week. As we keep pushing and keep learning on this journey together, each day continuously gets better and better and better. And that should be the goal, to learn something new every day and to continue to get better in everything that you do. So that is why this Thursday night, August 3rd, 2023 is my current favorite night of the week. But guess what? Tomorrow, Friday, August 4th, 2023 will also be my favorite night of the week because I don't miss. All right. So before I start off, I would like to wish my sister a very, very happy birthday. Today is her birthday, and I am just giving her a warm shout out saying, happy birthday, sis. All right. Now that that's out of the way, we will, Roger, so you have a comment. I will address that as soon as I take care of some housekeeping. So let me put these clean of me. All right. Let's get to it. Where is my agenda? I was telling someone that I'm planning to do a show with that I am an engineer and I swear I have ADD and OCD at the same time. So that's why I'm always losing my notes, but my automation code is so meticulous. All right. So let's get started on the show. So first and foremost, shout out to the new subscribers. We are growing rapidly. And I wanted to say a special thanks to our newest subscribers, being shout out to Jacqueline.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, Jacqueline. And you know what? I'm going to move this thing again. Hold on. Let's move that right there. Let's try that again. I appreciate you, Jacqueline.
I appreciate you.
Thank you for subscribing to Tech Coach Ralph's channel. I hope that I can add tremendous value into your life. And another person, welcome to the channel, Mordecai. You have an awesome name, I must say. I love it, Mordecai. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully I can add tremendous value into your life as well. Shout out to the both of you and all the other people who are subscribing. All right. Now, let's get into what we always do, our live show schedule. So we have Sunday afternoons, we have software explorations. However, not this coming Sunday or the next coming Sunday because I will be away from the dungeon, away from the office. So we will have to pick up on our Sundays in 3 Sundays from now. Not this Sunday, not next Sunday, but the following Sunday. We will pick it up. We'll keep going. We have our Tuesday night Q&A sessions, but like I said, not this coming Tuesday. I don't believe so because I do not think I'm going to have the quality internet connection to bring you the best show possible. And with me, if it's not the best, then it's not worth doing. So Tuesday nights, Q&A sessions, and Thursday nights, software explorations, where the next few weeks we are going to be focused on the more entry-level basic type of QA stuff, getting familiar with the test cases, reporting bugs. We're going to be using our Kiwi test case management system to document our test cases and our bugs, and we're going to see if we can link our automation test to it as well. All right, we're just going to be very comprehensive. I'm going to prepare your QA portfolio, and if you follow along, you will have an impressive QA portfolio. So when you go to that interview, you can knock them off their feet. All right, they're going to be like, what kind of rare QA creature is this? I've never seen a QA person put so much attention and so much care into their work. So follow along, build your QA portfolio, get noticed quick. All right, so that is the plan. So once again, Sunday afternoons, software explorations, Tuesday nights, Q&A sessions, Thursday nights, software explorations. Like I said, no live shows this coming week, but I will be releasing content, and my schedule for meetings should be fairly open, and I will be working in the background, planning some shows, working on some other stuff, getting ready for some more amazing things to come. And I do have I guess I'd call it special, quote unquote special show, where I'm going to be working on some web development type stuff for a project that I need to work on for a friend. But I'm like, hey, might as well live stream it, and you guys can see how we install WordPress and how we install a template for WordPress and how we configure it, all that good stuff. So, and the thing is, right, if you're a QA engineer, it is like, I think those are the most important, like more than the QA knowledge that I have, knowing these technologies has helped me be able to troubleshoot and navigate and just think more critically in all that I do. So it might sound like it's web development, front end development type stuff, but the knowledge that you get from it is like, I use so many CSS selectors when I'm doing front end development, when I'm doing web development, that it helps my QA engineering. So just throwing that out there. That will be live streamed probably like on Saturday nights, like have some working sessions, and we can just hang out, eat, drink, work. If you have questions, I can answer those questions, all that good stuff. All right. So look out for that. I'm not sure when that's going to be starting, but I will keep you posted. So once again, Sunday afternoon, software explorations, Tuesday nights, Q&A sessions, Thursday nights, software explorations again. Now, shout out to that. Now, our pre-recorded content schedule: Mondays, we have candid conversations. Wednesdays, we have software explorations, concepts, and overviews. Fridays, we have the bug bite. And we have a very cool bug bite coming out tomorrow. It's kind of sad, but it's also kind of hilarious how I put it together. So you just have to look out for it. Like, trust me, it's already scheduled to premiere at noon Eastern time tomorrow. Look out for it. It's going to be tons and tons of fun. I might be even in the chat during the premiere to talk to you guys. So look out for that. We're going to have so much fun. All right. So Mondays, candid conversations. Wednesdays, software explorations, concepts overviews, and Fridays, the bug bite. And throughout the whole week, we have different shorts and clips and everything coming out. Just look out for it. All right. Just subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. You will be notified of everything that's releasing. And it's a lot of content, but it is for you, to help you excel into your career and to have some fun. Look out for Saturday's release. All right. So that is our pre-recorded content. So let's subscribe again and hit the notification bell so you can know when everything is happening. All right. And last but not least, if you have not done so yet, like the video, share the video with a friend. Yeah, you, Ross. Share that video with your friend. Have them subscribe to the channel. All right. And subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like I just said, and you just get all this amazing content that I'm pouring out, and I'm going to keep pouring it out because my goal is to make you successful. Because when you're successful, I'm successful. All right. And we're just building an amazing team. All right. So let's get to it. Next thing, let me address the chat first, and then we will go into opening up the show. So, Rush has been busy in the chat. All right, so let's say in a let me see if I can make this a little bigger. Let me see. Alert. Yeah. Well, it's gonna be what it's gonna. Let me see if I can do this. There goes that OCD wanting everything to be perfect. So, where's my? All right, let me try that. Let's do 240. Try that again. That works. All right, Raj says, in a previous Selenium tutorial, when you downloaded the WebDriver Manager to organize the binaries, you stated that in a work environment, there is a better way to do this and it would be more professional. Can you elaborate on this, please? I had to write this in 2 parts because no problem at all, Raj. Shout out to you. All right, so I said there is a better way to do it because it would be more professional. I'm trying to remember the context that I said that in. Where's my remote? Goodness. Oh, there it goes. Let me think. You said there was. Oh, okay. I think I know what you're referring to. Okay, so the way that I did it, I had everything inside of the in the class that holds the test, right? So you know how when you're doing with Java, right? And you have the so you have your quote unquote test class that's gonna have your before method, your test, and everything like that, right? So because we were just getting started and everything like that, I had everything set up into one spot, right? So it's setting up the driver, it's setting up the WebDriver Manager, setting up the driver, all of that, all in one class. So the better way to do it is through it's more of building a framework where you don't have to put that same code in every single class, right? The WebDriver Manager is called and let's say there's a class called like base class, right? And the WebDriver Manager is set up in there, and you can set up your driver in there, and then you extend your test class to call that particular your base class, and now you don't need to have that code written every single time, right? It's just it's just extending that I guess you can call it. It's extending the base class because that's your setup class where you're doing all the setup work in there, and then now when you get into the test, you get to focus on the test. You don't have to do like the whole setup over and over and over and over again. You would in the test you would more focus on getting the page object models into there, like instantiated in there, and then just doing your automation. You don't have to worry about like all the setup. So like in usually when using doing Selenium in Java, you're going to be using testng. So what I've done is using testng, I say, okay, this is the browser that I want my test to run in. If I'm using a Selenium grid, this is the grid I want it to run in, like that. But I don't do none of that. I don't do none of that configuration in my actual test class. My actual test class is used just to worry about the test cases that are being executed. Let me know if that makes sense. And I can always do a video. I can always like maybe do a Sunday live stream on that to go into that in a little bit greater detail. What I mean, but yeah, I just mean that I set up the whole driver setup, including the WebDriver Manager, as part of the framework, and then that can be used over and over and over again across different projects. Like in the past I've created as a Maven repository. My framework is a Maven repository where I can just import it via Maven into my test and then use it all across. So So in the tutorial, it was Python, Selenium, not Java. The concept still stays the same as far as setting up the base class and extending it. I wouldn't create the browser over and over again. Yeah, you're not confusing me. But yeah, that was the context though. Setting it up, the WebDriver manager, not generally not having it in the same class as a test, so you can have reusable methods and stuff like that, and you can use the same thing like that's pretty much how frameworks would work for Selenium. So yeah, I'll take a look at that video again just to and the code that I wrote just to revisit it. But I'm pretty sure that's what I was talking about. But if I see something different, I'll come back and I'll address that, and we can probably go through it a little bit deeper, because the Selenium code that I did, it was very basic, just so you guys could get be able to get something to run, right? But I didn't go too in depth. Like even in the Java one, I didn't even finish the page object model. I did it for like the home page, but I didn't finish it for the other ones. But we can definitely revisit that, and maybe we can make the setting up of the WebDriver a little bit cleaner, so you don't have to declare it in every single test that you're creating. So yeah, great question. Awesome.
I appreciate you.
All right, so let's get into the show. So the first thing we're going to do, we are going to read a state of the market. All right, so let's do this. So this reads, "This is absolutely the trashiest job market I have seen in my 34 years alive. I have a master's and 10 years of experience, and I am struggling since a layoff on March 31st. I get interviews, but apparently companies are getting so many applicants it doesn't matter. Anyone else feel this way? Last I looked for a job unemployed during the recession, and not even that was this bad. Constant ghosting, internals picked over me, or no one hired, and positions still open months later. F this job market. The only jobs that exist are low-paying trash jobs that no one wants." Well, I also looked at the unemployment rate because I heard it was pretty low, and I see as of June 2023, the unemployment rate is 3.6%. Total unemployed people, 6 million. Unemployed insurance claims, 2 million. All right. There are 350 million people in the United States of America. So 3.6% is pretty low. Now, what do I always ask when we get into these questions about having a master's degree and being and having 10 years of experience and struggling to find a job? Number one, I always ask is, what is this master's degree in? All right. But let's say it is a pretty decent master's degree, right? Number two, nobody's entitled to a job. And I know there are people who get jobs every single day. I don't know what is the case for you, but the way that this post reads, I might be afraid to work with you as well, right? The only jobs that exist are low-paid trash jobs that no one wants. Well, somebody wants that job because somebody needs that job, all right? And if we do not fill the jobs that are here, they will bring other people to fill those jobs for us, all right? Continuing. Like I said, I wonder what that master's degree is. I wonder what field this person is in, to be honest. But here comes the thing to me and jobs, right? That's how I see it. When I was looking for a job earlier this year, and there were some jobs that I wasn't too much of a fan of, right? They were still in my field and stuff like that, but some of the concessions that I'd have to make from the way that things are, the way that I move. I wasn't a fan of it, but that doesn't mean that I wasn't willing to take it. I entertained everything because I want my money, right? So now the way that my work ethic is, and the way that I grind, and the way that I prepare and everything like that. And you can ask Raj in the chat, because I talk to him on a regular basis. Like the way that I push and the way that I maneuver, and the way that I encourage him as well to push and maneuver, we get results, right? Someone that I had a call with just the other day updated his resume over the weekend. I reviewed his resume, updated over the weekend, and when I spoke to him on Tuesday night, he had an interview lined up, and then today he tells me he has another 2 interviews since he last updated his resume. Right? The one thing I always tell people is stop complaining and do something. Right? You got laid off on 3/31. Okay. Things change since your 10 years of experience. Have you leveled up? Are you continuing to grow with your industry? Because something that I always see is like the people who hold on to like this manual testing thing. Someone posted a question about like, what's the likelihood of me getting a job if I just want to do manual testing for the rest of my life? And I said, you know what? Unless you want to work in some third world country, your chances of getting a manual testing job here, unless there's some application that can't be automated, is very low. But even if a job does need some manual testing, because you always need to do some sort of manual testing, right? But if it's compared to you who only does manual testing versus somebody who does manual testing and they know how to do automated testing, who do you think is going to get picked? So, and this is the example I gave, right? Hopefully this can resonate. So let's say you want to do some type of construction job, right? And you got to bring your own tools. They say you're gonna have to like put in some nails into some wood or something like that, right? And you show up to the job site, right, to see if you're gonna get picked, and you show up with a hammer and a box of nails. Now, the person who shows up next to you, they show up with a nail gun, right? A bunch of those little nail things that go into the nail gun, and they also have a hammer and some regular nails too. Who's gonna get the job? See, me, I'm going with the person with the nail gun, because there goes efficiency, there goes planning, there goes and then they have the hammer in case they need to do some other type of stuff. But they're going to be moving so fast compared to you with your little hammer and little nail, just knocking it. I'm like, no, go somewhere else. Right? Like, and that's what I hear with the people who say, oh, I just want to do manual testing. I just want to do manual testing. No, that's a tool. Automation is a tool. But what makes the person is the QA engineer. And the more tools that you have. So me, for instance, I know web design. I know a lot about. I've learned React, although I'm not like I have to reacquaint myself with it. Right? I'm decent in Docker to do stuff like you saw. We were able to install Kiwi test case management system. I'm good enough to do damage in AWS. Like just the other day, I set up a Docker the AWS ECR to manage our Docker images on there. Right? I'm dangerous enough to do work. So that means I'm dangerous enough to add value, which also means you don't want to go up against me when it comes into the job market. Because companies, they might have a budget, right? But when they see, like if I go up against you for a job, right? And they see the things that I can offer to them, right? They might be willing to go up, like they'll go over their budget because I have many tools. How does my man Liam Neeson say? I have a particular set of skills, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like you need to add tools to your toolbox. So you can be like, you can't just be like, oh, that's not my job, or that's not my job. Oh, I only do manual testing. I'm like, okay, well, the person who can do manual testing and they can automate it to move faster, they're gonna take your job. You do not want to go up against me. But you can learn from yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph, and you can level up. All right? So just wanted to go with that. Now we get into our icebreaker. All right. So this one says, my parents confronted a litter bug. So my parents were sitting at a red light when the car in front of them opened the window and dumped a bunch of trash into the street. My mom was pissed. She got out of the car and confronted the woman, picked up the trash and said, "Hey, you dropped this." The woman started screeching, "I don't want that beep in my car." My mom replied, "So go find a trash can and dump the trash through the open window." The woman was screaming and cussing, calling my mom a F and B, among other colorful phrases, and continued dumping her trash all over the street. At this point, my dad got involved. He's a busybody and he despises litter. He noticed that among the dumped items were half-melted ice cream bars. He grabbed them and smeared them all over her windshield, made a big, sticky brown smear across the driver's windshield. At that point, he noticed the car's make and model and wrote down the license plate, already calling the police. The woman sat through the light, probably trying to clear off her windshield, backed up her car, wiggled around a bit, and took off like a bat out of hell when the light turned green. Listening to my parents recount this tale, pleased as punch with themselves, I was, yes, proud of my parents feel this strongly about littering, but also aghast. Mom, my eyes were big as dinner plates. What if she had a gun? My mom stopped. Oh, maybe I should invest in one of those cute tasers I got you guys for Christmas a few years ago, she pondered. Yes, Mom, invest in a taser, but also maybe just call the cops next time. Well, all right. How about that? So I think your parents are idiots. To be honest with you, like you asked a very fair question. What if the lady had a gun? What your parents did is vandalism and assault. Littering does not call for that kind of response. I do not like litter either. And but I'm not going to do some road rage litter bug thing. Like imagine dying over litter. Like this is stupid. This is just ridiculous. Stupid. Like come on. Like first you go and you pick up the trash off the floor and then you dump it into the lady's car, and then your dad, who should be the voice of reason, he takes the ice cream and smear it over her windshield. This is vandalism. You know, like the police should have came and arrested them, and then you'd be bailing them out, and then that'd be a pretty funny story at the end of the day. But this is crazy. Like, come on, people. You guys have to be like, people are crazy out there. You guys have to be safer than that because, oh my goodness, like this is insane. Over litter? Like, if it bothers you that much, just pick it up and throw it in the trash yourself. Like, I don't like people who litter, but if I come outside my house and there's like a bottle of water on my grass, I'm just gonna pick it up and throw it in the trash. I'm not gonna confront anybody and try to fight them over nothing like that. Jeez, that's crazy. That's idiotic. Like you put your whole life, your family in danger. You could have if I was a cop, I would have arrested you because that's vandalism and that's assault. And I would have gave the lady her $50 ticket or $100 ticket for littering, and I would have taken you to jail. Straight up. And then after you assault, you call the police on what the lady, like the lady didn't do anything that merited being called the police on. If the police see you littering, they'll fine you for it. But you assaulted and violated the lady. Like, that's crazy. Anyways, let's move on from this craziness and this stupidity. Stupid. All right. Now we are about to get into the show. I will be addressing questions during the breaks. We're going to be working for 20 minutes. We're going to be breaking for 5 minutes. I do not have a code review today, so we might just go on LinkedIn and look for some more jobs, see what's going on. So yeah, let's do that. All right. But before we go on to that, let's get our energy.
Please offer me your energy. I ask of you, please.
Got our Viking with us tonight. Yeah, our Viking with us tonight. Raj, if you're still there, let me know if I answered your question, all right? Hopefully I did. Oh, I almost missed this one. Hi, Beatrice. Happy to have you here as always. All right, let's get into it. Let me get my screen ready. That's a good question. Let me see. It's not that. All right, where did I go? Let me see. Oh, not that. All right. How do I look in the camera? Let me fix that. So unprepared. My goodness. What's going on here? All right. We are good to go. So, when we last left off, wait. Oh, before we get going, my man Lex, what's up? Shout out to you, Lex. Thank you for being here. We are gonna have some fun. All right. So when we last left off, we installed Kiwi, and we did that with Docker. So we have our test case management, but right now it is currently down because I turned it off to get some of my computer resources back. But we do I have Docker open? Let me open up Docker. And we are going to, let me put my 20 minutes up, 20 minutes working. Show the timer. Show this timer too. All right, so Docker is loading, and then I'm going to do the Docker command up command, or Docker compose up, sorry. All right, so my Docker is up and running. This is my Docker. This is Docker for desktop, but I don't normally use Docker for desktop. I just open it so I can go to the console, to the terminal. So, but you can definitely start it from there too. All right, where's my terminal? All right, so we are going to do Docker compose up. And that should turn on our Kiwi. And this time, I did write down my password, I believe. I think I did. All right, so I should do it with -D, but it's okay. Let's see. Here comes our Kiwi. And let's log in to our Kiwi. And I want to say, right, and I have a meeting with him tomorrow. but I'm not 100% sure how to say his name yet. But I will find out tomorrow. But let's go with Arsini. He also submitted his Kiwi project. So I only got 2 submissions for the Kiwi project, right? But you said you guys want a QA portfolio. No submissions except for 2. I extended the resume thing to him too because he submitted it before the deadline of Tuesday midnight Eastern time. So in my book, he's also a winner. And I'm going to work closely with him, getting his resume right, getting him where he wants to go. You guys say you want it, but where's the work? All right. So let's do this. Let me see. I know I wrote this somewhere. Let's see. That should be it. Please be it. Oh, bummer. I write this thing down. Oh, there you go. Nope, that's not it. Where did I write this thing down at? Hold on. Enter a correct username and password. So many notes here. I don't know. Let me see. Let me check. Let me check what's going on here. Let me see. Getting on my phone right now. Looks okay. Let me see what I'm streaming at on my phone. It says I'm at 720p on my phone. I got the worst luck with passwords. Where did I write this thing down? Well, you can always create another one. No biggie. Let's see. All right, anyways, so the first thing I want to talk to you about because we don't even need the key right now, right? The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is test plans. All right. So my view on test plans, let me go to this, right? And so I was reading this, right? It says a test plan is a detailed document that describes the test strategy, objectives, schedule, estimations, deliverables, and resources required to perform testing for a software product. All right. So here's the thing with the test plans, right? I think the view on test plans has changed a bit as we come more into the agile Scrum environment and we're evolving, right? So like, because a lot of people that I talk to, they lean heavy on the ISTQB, right? So the ISTQB standard is test plan is a document describing scope, approach, resources, and schedule of intended test activities. But the thing is, right? When you're working in Scrum and you're working in an agile environment, the things move so fast. And oh my God, hold on. Gotta plug the laptop in. My goodness, what a day today. All right, so right? So when you're working in that agile Scrum environment, the units of work is so small, and the stories are generally small, right? It's achieving a particular goal, a particular feature, right? So now what happens is the whole test plan concept in this manner of like describing the scope, the approach, the resources, and the schedule of intended test activities, it changes because now when like for a whole project, right, you could be having thousands of test cases, but for one feature that you're implementing, you might have 5 test cases with like, and then you have like some positive scenarios, some negative scenarios, depending on what you're testing. If you're testing API, it's different, but the concept stays the same. So the idea of a test plan describing the strategy objectives, like you're not going to have thousands of test plans because a sprint is iterative, right? So with that being said, to me at least, and if anybody's out there, like I would like to know how you see it, right? Like if Good Guy happens to be watching, I'm not sure, but I would like to know how he sees it, because to me, I see the test plan as something that's changing, as like a lot of things I hear from the ISTQB standard is from a waterfall V model type methodology, but we are not, we don't really work like that anymore because we are going to market faster. So like, for instance, like in my role, like we're doing a test plan and a test plan in a test plan phase. Like we're discussing the test plan, but it's like a plan of, it's more of a plan of how do we plan to test this particular story, not a test plan for the entire project, because in Agile, as you all know, projects are very dynamic, and they're it's not like you get all the requirements from the stakeholders at the beginning and then you see the stakeholders 2 years later and now you're delivering the project, right? No, you meet with the stakeholders every, depending on your sprint cadence, but it's like every week, every 2 weeks, sometimes every 3 weeks, usually no more than every 4 weeks, right? You're meeting with the stakeholders. You're in a sprint review, and you're showing the iteration of the work that's been done, and you're getting feedback. If you have to pivot one way, if pivot another way, some things that they'd like to see, new ideas that they have, and then you go from there. So it's impossible to have a comprehensive test plan that has the whole strategy, the objective, the schedule, the estimations, deliverables, all that type of stuff, right? So that's why when I did the presentation yesterday's show about the test plan, right? I was like, this is what it is, but the way that it works, and that's why I was eager to do this show, because the way that it works in the day-to-day agile environment, which most people who are getting into QA and software development, software engineering, they're going to be in an agile environment because it makes no sense to work in the waterfall method, right? So that's the thing about the test plan. Now, the test scenario, that's a little different, because the test scenario, it's still valid, and even in writing automation and writing like the business cases, right? If you're using, for instance, if you're using like BDD or Gherkins or something like that, right? The even the format, like you have like a feature, right? Then you have what's the scenario for that feature, and then you have the actual steps that you would take to, like, it's pretty much a test case. Like as we saw when we logged into Kiwi, it's pretty much a test case. Given these preconditions, when you do this, then this is the expected results, right? So that includes the test case and the scenario. So you can have a feature that has like 5 to 10 different scenarios, and then each of those scenarios can have the different steps to test those scenarios. And the thing is, in like for instance, like we work with Gherkins, right? What we do is we can, like, as we go and we add new functionality to a particular area of the product, we just add more scenarios, relevant scenarios to those tests. And so we'll add more relevant scenarios, and then we'll create the code for those steps, right? And it's very cool. Like I like it. Like I just off topic or on topic, but off topic with this, right? Like when I always liked the concept of BDD, but when I tried to implement it years ago, I wasn't too crazy about it. But like now that I've been working on it for the past almost 6 months now, it's kind of growing on me in how I'm able to reuse those steps, and I'm being able to actually use it in a work environment. I've come to appreciate it a lot more in the things that I've been able to do with it, and how I'm able to reuse steps across different. It's like almost like a method, but that method is in text form. So I just add that line to another scenario, and boom, it picks it up. If you coded it correctly. There's always that caveat of you got to code it correctly to get it to work. But that's just things that come with time, right? So those are the two things that I think about the test plan. I think it's a lot less relevant in the way that it's traditionally defined in the and because a lot of people that have their standards as ISTQB, but I do not really believe that the ISTQB is the standard anymore, because it is more for the outdated waterfall V model method, which I would say majority of companies are no longer using because it costs too much, right? It costs way too much to be using the ISTQB, or not the ISTQB, but to be using the waterfall method or the V model method, right? It costs too much when you can get response faster from your stakeholders by going into the agile environment. And the last thing I would say is that, which I think I mentioned before, but like if you're going with the waterfall model or the V model, and it takes you 2 years to get to market, but if you go with agile, you can get something out on the market within like maybe not 2 weeks of starting, because like it's still very preliminary, but let's say within like 3 months. 2 years versus 3 months, so I'm already getting feedback and everything like that. Way better way to go, right? So that's the thing with the test plan. It's not as valid. And a lot of people are banking on the ISCQB, but like I took a quick glimpse, and my man Lex mentioned the Agile Manifesto. I think that is a very important thing to read if you are a, whatever you are in the IT field, whether you're a QA engineer, full stack developer, software engineer, whatever it is, the Agile Manifesto is it's very important for you to get familiar with, because that is becoming the new standard, so just wanted to bring that up. All right. Let me fix this camera a little bit. Hey Lex, if you're still there, is the quality any better, or is it still at 144 for you? All right, I'll take a look at that if he responds. But so the website that I wanted to do test cases on is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but they are a UK-based e-commerce clothing company called ASOS.com. So, all right. So when awesome. Thanks for letting me know. So when I was working at, or maybe like, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4 companies ago, right? ASOS was one of our clients. We would translate the websites for them. Like we pretty much took care of their translated website. I do not know if that company still does that, but it doesn't matter. But I wanted to use ASOS.com because it is a pretty good e-commerce website with a lot of different functionality, and majority, so there's a lot of main type of websites, right? There's e-commerce websites. There are hospitality websites, which could be like hotel bookings. There's travel websites, which could be like JetBlue, Delta, American Airlines, Southwest Airlines, those type of sites, right? There can be like the um, restaurant ordering types like Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's, right? There could be e-commerce like Abercrombie and Fitch, Hollister, ASOS, Shein, Amazon, right? So many different ones. But I chose ASOS because I remember working on it, and it was a pretty cool site. So, and I think we can write our test cases using ASOS tonight, right? And so this is going to be a little different because traditionally when I would write test cases, it would be during the development process on a site that isn't built, but we can use it in this case to like just write general test cases, and we can add it to Kiwi if I ever figure out what my password is. But I can always quickly get rid of it and create a new one, so that's no big deal. Let me see. But we can go to ASOS, and we can just take a look around at ASOS real quick, right? So let's say, when you get to the website, when you go to ASOS.com, it automatically redirects you to a category. They redirected me to women's. Not really sure why, but don't really matter. And if we just take a quick browse, let's say we look for clothing, hoodies and sweatshirts, and so this is more like exploratory testing, right? Where I'm looking around on the site to see what test cases I could have. So let's say I get hired by ASOS, right? And they didn't really have that good of a testing structure. Like they didn't have they barely had any test cases written. They were pretty buggy. So I need to explore the website. I need to see what test cases that I could. So that's the scenario we're using, right? I need to see what test cases I can write for ASOS that see what test cases I can write for ASOS, so I can see what I will what I'll be testing, right? And then that way, once I have my test cases in my test case management, then we can start executing, right? So that would be the plan. So I went to women's, I went to hoodies and sweatshirts, and I get the product listing page. So right now I'm already looking at a flow, and I'm taking a look, and let's say I click on this, and I see here there's a size drop down, right? I'd have to click on the size drop down. Let's say we add to bag, see what happens. So it says added, and it does a little cart thing. There's a search feature. So I'm just investigating the site. So I'll choose if I want to deliver to the United States or elsewhere. Right? You can update your preferences. I'm just looking around, So this is if I get hired by them, I need to get familiar with their website, all that good stuff.
Lunch break.
All right. So let's see. All right. So what do we got? So my man Lex said, yeah, I totally agree. Also, one of the values of the Agile Manifesto is working software over documentation. That is very true. Like when I saw it coming, but I didn't read it in detail. You are 100% right. Working software over documentation. And don't get me wrong, like I'm a big fan of documentation, but I think if you do it the right way, you can have your documentation. Put this 5 minutes down. You can have your documentation built for you. And that's one of the reasons that I kind of like the BDD method, because it kind of writes the documentation for you. Although the given when then is, I don't think that's the most business user friendly way to write it, but it does help understand the software a lot better. Like it's easier to read than if you're trying to read like a whole bunch of code, right? But yeah, like definitely working software over documentation. And if you write the software, like if you work well enough, you can have that documentation written in a way that it doesn't take more time to write the documentation that it takes to develop the software. All right, so that is awesome. Shout out to you, my man Lex. And the good guy is in the building. Welcome, good guy. Happy to have you here as always. So, good guy. I don't know if you heard what I was asking. I was asking, like, what do you think about the way that so what I was reading about the test plan, right? Where it talks about the test plan is a detailed document that describes the test strategy, objectives, schedule, estimations, deliverables, and resources required to perform testing for a software product. And what I was saying was that is true, but more in the waterfall model and the V model of software development. But in Agile, that kind of test plan is not as relevant because of the sprints, the quicker time to market, the shorter. So it's like you have like test scenarios and test cases, but they're like specific to a story, and they're always like it can always be changing. So it's hard to have that. It's hard to have that test plan that is so comprehensive because things are very dynamic. It's quote unquote, it's agile, right? So I was curious to see like what you thought about that as well. Let me see. And I would love to get my. Oh, let's see. Let's see what happens with this. So, I got into Kiwi. Ha. Because I don't know my own name. That's why I couldn't get in. All right. So when we come back, we will continue with. We're going to start writing our test cases, and I would like feedback on to the test cases that we should write. Let's do this together. So my man Lex said, yes, I agree, but the test strategy is kind of useful to document, I think. Yeah, of course. Like the test strategy is documented. It's just like the whole test plan with the whole, it's like so much in it that it's ever changing, right? So, but like the approach of how it is, the testing approach, definitely agree with that. Good guy says, our company doesn't use test plan. We are based on test suite architecture and plan our development accordingly. Nice. Test suite architecture. I like that. Very cool. All right. I like having all these QA people in here. That's so cool. That's so cool because a lot of times in companies like the QA, especially in Agile, it's like one QA person, maybe two QA people to the developers. So you don't necessarily talk and strategize as much. So it's just cool to hear like the different thoughts and how you guys work, and see that there's a lot of similarities to it, So that's very cool. I like it. It's my favorite night of the week. Let me go on LinkedIn real quick, see what we have up there. And jobs. And let's go to the share screen. All right. So let's look for some jobs, right? Kin Insurance. Funny enough, with the ever so rising rates in homeowners insurance, I had looked at Kin Insurance for a quote.
Get a move on. Back to work. Chop, chop. Let's go. Come on. Get a move on. Back to work. Back to work. Back to work.
All right. So let's look at Kin Insurance and then we'll get back to work, right? Let's see. Write and execute test cases to ensure development output meets acceptance criteria, technical specifications, and product goals. So this very point right here, right? A day in the life could include, right? This very point right here. Write and execute test cases and ensure development output meets acceptance criteria, technical specifications, and product goals. This is a software developer in test, right? Why am I emphasizing on this? Because many of the people who harp on to manual testing, this right here looks like a very strong aspect of manual testing, right? Do you get what I'm saying here? This looks like a very strong aspect of manual testing. But let's keep going. Document software defects in bug tracking system and monitor bug resolution. Also sounds like an aspect of quote unquote manual testing. Investigate, test, and debug complex issues. Sounds like it could be manual testing. I'm not sure if manual testers like test and debug complex issues. I know when I was manual testing, I surely did. Right? But sounds like an aspect of manual testing. Participate in code reviews. That doesn't sound so much like manual testing to me. Write and maintain unit tests and automated test suites. That's not manual testing. Analyze automation test results and present analysis. That one, probably not manual testing, but they could do that. Participate in troubleshooting, triaging of issues with various teams to determine root cause resolution. That could be manual testing. Perform automated regression tests and performance testing, not manual testing. Plan and conduct the analysis, design, test, and or integration to assure the quality of large complex projects. This one is like maybe a more advanced kind of manual testing. And I'm only saying manual testing just to raise the point. Collaborate with various stakeholders in multiple technical disciplines, including developers, business intelligence, data engineers, DevOps, and architects. Higher level, but that's not necessarily automation. The reason I am pointing this out, right, is because I keep emphasizing that, especially even at the beginning of the show, right? If your toolbox is only the hammer and nails, right, you're going to be the person with all these other, with the nail gun is going to get the job. That's what they're asking for. If companies are asking for this, right, why are you going to fight the people who are giving the jobs, right? So I just want to emphasize on that point. Be marketable, be valuable. Give them what they need. Give them what they want. All right. So we're about to get back into it. Let me see what my man Good Guy says, and then we're gonna get back into writing our test. So let me move this over. So it says architectural diagram, test topology, BDA, gathering data, steps to automate with the client, developing test spec, documentation for test case, development code in very short form. So it sounds like you guys, like you write your quote unquote test plan or your testing strategy or your test case before the development actually starts. That way the developers have in their they know what's going to be tested, so they can develop to that, right? It's kind of like, it's almost like a test driven approach, although like they're not like writing the actual, well, maybe they are, I don't know exactly how they're doing it, but like where you be writing the test and then you build the code to the test. Yeah, that's a very good strategy. In my role, it's slightly different. Where that like I'll try to have that meeting where we talk about the testing early on, but that doesn't block them from getting ready to start. But I will say that I am lucky for the type of developers that I work with, because they are very, very test minded. Like just the other day, one of the developers, they were building in like automated test. They're contributing to the automated test, building like a very cool automated test that checks video quality and stuff like that. So, so just to say that, I like your approach. Mine is slightly different, but I'm also lucky to work with some amazing software engineers, right? So, anyways, shout out to that. Thank you, Good Guy, for that. And let's get back to work. All right, 20 minutes. We are up and running. All right, so get rid of that. So we have, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do two screens. ASOS on one side So what is the first thing that I would want to work on if I'm coming into a website that already exists, right? We're not building it. It already exists. Okay? So what I want to focus on is so inside our queue, let's go ahead and let's go create these create the project, right? So where would I find that project? Let's see. This would be a test. I thought I could do a project in here, but maybe not. Let me see. Languages. Mm. Admin. Users groups. It's only users in here. Let's see. All right, let's just do this. We're gonna do a test plan for let's see what we have in here. So I'm gonna call this. So one thing I see about Kiwi that maybe I'm missing something. I'd have to look into the documentation, but I would like to have where I can group the projects together and not have like just everything under one. Let me try. Maybe I can do this. I don't know. Not entirely sure. Let's try this. ASOS. Know what the classification is. So I'm gonna have to look into that part a little bit more about Kiwi, but that doesn't stop us from writing our test cases, right? Oh, we have to choose a classification. Okay. I have to look into what the classification is as well. But nonetheless, so let's say product is ASOS, I don't know. And let's call it, so what would be the first thing that I would not automate. I always want to automate. What is the first test case or series of testing that I would do on this? I would say, what is the most important thing on the website? All right. Is it the ability to log into the website or is it the ability to purchase on the website? Both are or create an account. Both are very important. You know, I would probably go with being able to check out, right? Because if you can log in but you can't check out, then we're not making any money. And as an employee for, in this case, ASOS, my number one goal is to drive business and revenue. And if they can't, for instance, get to the products, if they can't get to the checkout, then we're not making any money. And that means I'm not making any money, right? And I want to make some money. All right. And like when you're checking out, I don't remember on ASOS in particular, but if you're able to check out as a guest, which I'm pretty sure they would allow you to check out as a guest. So there's probably a way around it. So I would start off with checking out, right? So let's call this the name of this test plan. We're gonna call it like checkout flow, right? And under checkout flow, we'll have a test case for we have that's a good point. Lex, and we are going to do that. And you'll see how I would do it in the process, right? But the reason I want to start off with the whole checkout flow is because that is what's going to be driving money to the website. The search is very important too, because if, like, for me, if I go to a website and I do a search and the search doesn't work, I'm probably like just going to leave the website, right? But you're going to see what we're going to do, right? So let's do this. So let's do this. Checkout flow is going to be our test plan, and I don't feel like writing a whole test plan document, but let's say this is the, let's just use ChatGPT. How about we do that? Use ChatGPT because I do not want to write me a whole test plan about this. Let's see what ChatGPT can do. So, write me a test plan to test the checkout process, checkout flow. All right, let's see what happens. See, so here's the funny thing. I'm looking at what ChatGPT is outputting, and it's giving you the, you're gonna see, I'm gonna copy it into here, right? It's giving me like the, and what I say, write me a test plan for a checkout flow, right? So I'm gonna paste it in here. What the heck? Okay, here we go. So let's take a look at this real quick, right? It says, so this is from ChatGPT. It says the section provides introduction. The section provides an overview of a test plan, including the purpose, scope, and objectives. The purpose of this test plan is to ensure that the checkout flow of the e-commerce website is functioning correctly, providing a seamless and secure experience for users. Scope. The test will focus on testing the entire checkout process, including adding items to the cart, updating the cart content, filling out shipping and billing information, selecting all this type of stuff, right? Like, yes, we're doing that, but I guess this would be useful in this manner if I'm coming into an existing like e-commerce site, right? But if I'm building the e-commerce site where we're building the plane as we fly it, right? Then it's going to be like, it's hard to have all this stuff written out. You know, this section describes the test environment required for testing the flow. All of that stuff is really dynamic, and you'd probably be building documents in your document tracking system. Like, let's say you're using Confluence or something like that, right? You would have sections that would be like, all right, this is our testing environments, the URLs to them and stuff like that. It's not really a test plan, but it's like a document. It's like documentation for the people working on the project. And then you can use that for onboarding new people and stuff like that, right? Hardware, list of hardware requirements, including the devices and configuration needed for the testing. A lot of this information is also going to be in the stories, right? And the stories can also be used as some form of documentation, because when you're doing the acceptance criteria, right? And you're saying, okay, we're building the checkout flow, and you would say it needs to work on these devices. So that means you're gonna have to check on the mobile device, like so, and you can even specify what type of mobile device, right? You can say iOS version 14.1, whatever version they're at now, Android version 13, right? It needs to work in the laptop and the desktop is, no, I wouldn't say that, but I would say like the browsers, like needs to work in Firefox, needs to work in Chrome, all of that stuff, and you can define that in the actual user story, you know, and then you can also have that in your documentation. But it would be almost impossible unless you make this a living document to build this test plan while you're developing the software, because of the iterative process. Specify the deliverables that will be produced as a result of the testing process. Define the criteria for sign-off, including who has authority to approve the completion of the checkout flow testing. You know, so like some of this information is relevant, but what I'm questioning is the relevancy of like it all being in this one place, especially when you are building a new software. I can kind of see it when you're going back to add test cases for existing software, but building a new software, I think it'd be like very difficult to incorporate this. All right, but anyways, let's leave it here. All right, we can use the chat GPT for that. And for the most part, we're building our portfolio, so this isn't super critical, right? And let's go to, all right, cool. So this is good. Let's save that. So now we have our test plan, and we want to start adding some test cases, right? So let's go to testing, new test case. So what is the first flow that we want to do, right? I want to, and I guess we'll focus a little bit more on end-to-end testing because the site already exists. But let's do this. So let's go back to the home page, right? And when you get there, let's do this one using the format of gherkins, right? Scenario. What will be tested? So what we're going to test is so Lex, you're good. So this is how I'm gonna do it, right? Adding, or let's say purchasing an item by finding the product using the search, right? And this is an end-to-end test. So with this end-to-end test, what I'm saying is I'm going to do the checkout flow, but I'm going to search for an item, right? Give this a name. And we can call this checkout as new. Checkout as, I think most, what do you guys think? Do most people check out as a registered user or as a guest user? It's a registered user. I think that might be the, because I think most people would be returning customers. So check out as registered user, right? I don't know. Doesn't matter because we're gonna end up having to test all of them anyways, right? So purchase an item by finding the product using the search, right? So given I am on the asos.com homepage, when I search for a product in the search bar, what product could we search for? Women's sweatshirt. And I would also like, so what I would search as well for this is the most popular product, right? Something that would get like high traffic, so that we are searching, like we're using products that are people search for a lot, right? That way we're getting a high traffic item, because it's most important to make sure those items are working. You know, like all items should be working, but I would want to, let me zoom in on this so you guys can see this a little better. Does that make sense? Why I'd want to do that? Because in these end-to-end tests that I would have running, like I would automate and having them running daily, I'd want to use like popular products and not some product that nobody would know about, nobody would ever buy, right? Because if I have an issue on a product that nobody buys, then it's not that critical. But if one, like the most popular products have an issue, then I need to raise a red flag like right away. Okay, so and this is something I'm not too crazy about Kiwi for this, but what we can do is we're gonna do. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with Gherkins and BDD standards to see like if this is okay to do it this way, but I'm gonna do it this way. And then we'll follow up next time and we'll change it if we have to, right? I'm gonna say when I search for a product in the search bar, then the search results are listed, right? And then I'm going to say when I click on the first item in the list, then the product page is loaded. And then when I choose the product attributes, if it has any, and I click on the add to cart button, then the item is added to the cart and the page remains on the product. Why is this thing? On the product page, right? And so here we're adding all of our expected results, right? Under the then for this part, right? And the cart overlay is displayed with the product added to the cart. Right? So, and then, so now when we're here, we click on for end-to-end flow. So, okay, on end-to-end flow, right? One flow can do the view bag, and then the other flow, right? Another test case can do straight to checkout, right? That way we're testing. See, because the goal for me when I'm doing these end-to-end tests is to capture the most important parts of the flow. Excuse me, my goodness. So in one test case, I'm going to do the view bag, right? The other test case, I'm going to do checkout. All right. And then I can even add in one of those test cases to make sure that all the products are loaded on the page. And if you're doing it manually, yeah, you would scroll down the page. But if I'm automating it, I would count to make sure that all the products are loaded. And it's caching all the products and everything like that. And then I would continue, right? Because I think it's also very important to make sure that all the products are being displayed or they're being loaded. They can be clicked on, because you don't want any broken products, right? So here I say, and it's added to the cart. Now when I click on the view bag button in the cart or in the my bag overlay, and I want to be very descriptive, right? Because like I said the other day, right? Test cases, their purpose is not for catching bugs. It's to be able to navigate the site, validate that it's working properly, but also it serves as documentation. So like, let's say you're onboarding a new QA person, right? Because you're coming into this company and there's no test cases, right? So now you don't know what you're doing. You have to figure it out on your own. But now let's say we're getting a new QA person. They should be able to follow your test cases in order so that they can get familiar with the site. What I used to do at one company was when we get new QAs, and I would just, I'd give them like show them
lunch break.
I would show them the basics and stuff like that. But I would also tell them I'll tell them just go through the test cases as much as you can. Ask me if you have any questions, but I want you to follow the test cases because that also told me how good the documentation of my test cases were as well, right? And if I needed to update it, if I needed to make it better. So I use that as an opportunity to audit the test cases, all right? Let's finish this one before we go on our break, and then we'll do that and take a break and come back for one last segment. So when I click on view bag button in the my bag overlay, let's do that. Let's follow along. Then the my bag, let's call it cart, page is loaded. And the item I added to the cart is displayed. And so for end-to-end test, I'm not going to do a bunch of configuration on this, right? Like if we were like writing test cases to focus on the cart / my bag page, then we would be trying to change the quantity, trying to change the size, saving for later, all that cool stuff, right? But that's not really the like we're trying to do some end-to-end tests to capture the most used parts of the site. If the person is like usually people aren't going to get here and then start tinkering with this type of stuff, which I don't think so, at least, you know. But I could be wrong. Like and if I was doing QA on this, I would suggest like, is it possible for us to add metrics? So so here's an interview answer, right, that you can give. Ooh, which reminds me, before we close, I need to answer the interview question that was in the Discord. So, yeah, like interview question. Say, yeah, if I was on like, if I'm doing an end-to-end test, I wouldn't be focused on changing the attributes of the product at that point, you know, the parameters of the product at that point. But I would like to know, because I'm not too familiar with how many with the percentage of users who might change their products during checkout, like change the attributes of their product during checkout, right? So I would suggest that we install some metrics so we can see it, and if we see that as a high number of customers who make changes at this point of the flow, then I would suggest that we would add some tests around that to our end-to-end test. But if it's a very low number, then I wouldn't focus on that as much during our end-to-end test, and focus that more on, like, you know, regular regression tests that might run on a weekly basis, or maybe some type of nightly basis or something to that extent. But it wouldn't be as much concerning for our end-to-end tests, right? Do you see my point with that? So it's not about like having that perfect like ISTQB answer. It's about that critical thinking, using metrics, right? Using metrics to say, like, I would add this. I would like to see the amount of users who do this type of action, and if it is a high amount, then that is a great opportunity to add to our end-to-end test. But if it's a low number of users, we can focus on that test elsewhere. All right. So just throwing that in there, a little bonus, right? So let's finish this test case, right? So, and I add the item the item I add to the cart is displayed. And now let's close that. When I click the checkout button, so you can't. So interesting. You can't do it as a guest. You have to sign in, or create an account. So what we'll do is we will create an account. But so we're gonna let's do this. And all right, it's not and. When I click on the checkout button, then the ASOS checkout screen is displayed, and I have the option to sign in with email address / password, and I have the option to sign in with Google, Apple, or Facebook, and a tab to join is displayed. All right, so let's leave it as that for now, and then we're going to take our break, and then we'll come back, right? But this is our test case so far, where we are navigating ASOS website. We're trying to purchase an item, and we're doing that using the search, right? So amazing, awesome, great. All right, let's go to our break. All right, so let's look at the chat. What do we have? Okay, let's set our 5 minutes. We have, let me see. So Lex says, I would add an and after the given logged in as registered user because you mentioned registered user above. I didn't mention it. Oh, you're right. Look at that. Lex is on point. Great job, Lex. Thanks you for being my backup. I love it. So, yep, you're right. Definitely going to do that. When we get back to it, let me see. We have our friend Melissa. What are you doing exactly? So what we're doing is we are building our QA portfolio. And in building that QA portfolio, we are, so I chose a website, asos.com. I used to work on it years ago. And what we're doing is we are writing test cases for asos.com. So we're in the process right now of writing a test case for checking out as a registered user. And then another test case that we would write is check out as a guest user, right? And what we'll do is, so what I'll do, I'm going to finish this test case tonight, and then I would like to see you guys write the test case for the new user. You know, check out as a new user where you have to create an account. So you'd have to go to the join section while we're going to go through the sign in section. All right. Writing an end-to-end test using the join. Okay. So that's going to be our plan. I think that is a splendid idea because we are running out of time and I would like to see your test cases and, you know, you can always email it to me, Ralph@techcoachingwithralph.com. Or if you're in Discord, you can drop it in there as well. But I think it's just a great exercise. And like, I really, really, really urge you, like, especially if you are looking to get a job in the field, set up Kiwi, add your test case and we can do ASOS together. Like, you know, why not? We can do ASOS, right? You can create similar to the one I'm doing, or you can use the template for the other format, right? Where you're saying follow these steps and these are your expected results. You can follow this BDD format, right? And save it in there because it's going to give you experience writing test cases using a test case management system, and you have something to show to your. Because imagine this, right? Lex, tell me what you think about this. So, the way you speak, I get it sounds like you work for a company, right? And so let's say you're interviewing, right? And a candidate comes to the company like for interview, like whether it's like online or in person, right? And you ask them like, okay, like what do you do to learn more about QA and stuff like that? And then they say, oh, well, I practice writing test cases. I practice automating those test cases and all that type of stuff. And you're like, oh, really? Like, how do you do that? And he says, oh, do you mind if I show you? Right. And now he pulls out like his laptop and he spins up his Docker instance of Kiwi, and he logs in and he shows you, okay, these are my test cases, these are my test runs, these are my bugs, these are my automation, my automated tests that are running the test and that are logging the results in there, right? What would be your reaction to a candidate showing you that type of initiative, that type of ambition? I'd be like, wow, like that's impressive. And then if he's like, if that candidate is like, oh, I set up a EC2 instance and I install Kiwi on there so that I can access my my test case management system through the web wherever I'm at, and that way I want so that way they're showing you that they know how to use, like, not necessarily they're that familiar with Docker, but they've used Docker to set up something. They've logged into AWS. They set up an EC2 instance. They installed Docker on that EC2 instance, right? They logged into.
Move on, back to work, chop chop, let's go. Come on, get a move on. You're back to work, back to work, back to work.
All right. So they set up Docker, right? On the AWS EC2 instance. You know, they got to configure the security group and everything so it can get access. And now they log test cases to it, and then they have their automated tests, right? That is sending the results to their test case management system, right? Now, what if that person doesn't have much experience in the QA industry? Do you give that person a chance if they present you with all of that work? Good guy, if you're still there, like I'd like to know what you think about that too. If you see somebody does all of that, right, but they don't have much QA experience, they're trying to get into it, but they did all of that work, right? Like their automation, it's not the greatest. Like they're learning, you know. Their test cases can use some refinement, they can use some polishing and stuff like that, right? But they set up an EC2 instance, they installed Docker on it, they installed Kiwi on their Docker. They wrote let's say 10 test cases for a project, right? They created bugs for it. They did test runs, and they did some automation for it. All right. So before I get back to this, let's look at some of the answers. Right. That would indeed impress me because the preparation for the interview, but I would be curious how the candidate has come to the test cases and stuff. And I certainly think you can ask some questions about that. Right. That gives topics, and they should be able to answer it because they did the work, right? Like, okay, like what made you write this test cases? But that gives you something to talk about. A lot of times in interviews, like you're trying to like pull information out of the candidates, but if they bring you more, right? Because like what I'll do, I'll go off the resume and stuff like that, asking questions about it and things like that. But if they're bringing you this stuff, like I did all of this, like, okay, that's impressive. Oh, tell me about it. Oh, okay, the reason I did this, and now you get to see into their mindset. And even if they need some refining, if they're kind of new to it, you see that it's somebody that can definitely that they're hungry for it, that you can actually work with, you can train, you can mentor. But like they want something for it, right? And let me see what Good Guy says. He says, get instant results from presenting homework, instant job offer. That's what I mean. Like doing that self work to better yourself. You know, it's you can teach. There's a lot of stuff you can teach, and you can help get better, right? With practice and stuff like that, right? You know, how to have that eye of catching, like, you know, navigating through writing the test case and stuff like that. Cool, but that effort that they put in, that is gold, right? So. I just wanted to point that out with two people in the industry of like how they see the things that I'm encouraging everyone who's trying to get into the industry to do, and this spans across like multiple fields. It's not only for QA, right? Whether you're a software engineer, front end developer, something like that, doing these type of projects and having something to show, especially when you're trying to get into the field, you know, it helps. It goes a very long way. All right. So just wanted to get the feedback of some of my peers here. All right. So let's get back into it because I do want to get out of here tonight. All right. So And I hope I answered your question, Melissa, about what we're doing here. Feel free to write me in the chat. All right, so we're here. So we have, all right, so we said we see that the option to sign in with all of these is displayed. So I don't want to use any of these. So we're just going to go ahead. I guess I have to. So this part is not part of the, could be. It could be part of the test case if we wanted to go for the join route. All right, Lex, I'm going to pivot because if I have to join anyways, let me just say, check out as new user. You're totally right about adding the registered user, but just for the time's sake, I'm going to change this to join. And we're going to do that when, but next time the homework is you guys do the sign in. So create an account and then you guys do the checkout as a sign in. I'm going to do the join because I would have to join anyways in order to do the sign in. So just forgive me for that. All right. So when I click on the join tab, then the sign up form is displayed. And I'll read your other message after. Let me read since you're leaving. Agreed, especially if it's a junior candidate, the motivation to learn is very important. And anyways, I'm going to sleep, coach. It's 3:15 over here. Good luck with your stream. See you next time. Oh my goodness. Shout out to you, Lex. I did not know it was that time over there. Thank you so much for rocking with me tonight. That is amazing. Get some sleep, man. Get some sleep. Shout out to you, Lex.
I appreciate you. You the best.
All right, Lex. Have a good night. Have a good night. All right. We had to send off Lex the right way. You know, I could have just let him disappear and me not say anything. All right. So let's finish up because the same way that Lex wants to go to sleep at 3:15, I want to go to sleep at 9:15 Eastern time. So which I already passed that. So let's keep going. Let's finish up. All right. So we're clicking the sign up. And all right, so then sign up options for Google, Apple, Facebook are displayed, and form to sign up with email is displayed when I fill out the form entering. How am I gonna do this? Email address. So if I wanted to automate this, how would I do that? So I need to, all right, so I'm gonna have to do it line by line. Okay, so I'm gonna do entering my email with the test data of, and if this is running on a daily basis and I'm doing the sign up, I would probably be doing, and I'm taking it as an ASOS employee. We can always revisit this, but we're gonna just use some like random address right now, right? So I'm gonna say ASOS dot date dot testing at techcoachingwithralph.com, right? Or let's say I'm not gonna say when I enter my email address and what's my end? I don't know, whatever. It's probably because of the email that's happening. Or maybe it's this. Let me see if I change that to something else. All right, yeah, so that does something, but okay. So let's go like that. And let me move this back over here so I can see. And I enter my first name, tech coach, and I enter my last name, Ralph, and I enter a password of, put that over here. Password of ASOS testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. And I enter a date of birth of, let's pick a random date, 10, 2000. Right. And we're not going to worry about any of this stuff. And we're going to say, and I click continue to check out. All right. So we continue to check out. We have everything filled in for the form. Keep my formatting. Cater to my OCD. All right. Let me fill this out. I'm just gonna use my regular. I don't want to use that email address, but whatever. I can always unsubscribe if I have to. At techcoachingwithralph.com. Tech coach Ralph, and then sure, why not? And then date of birth. Date of birth. So 10. So something that we need to be aware of. See, they have the day first, right? So what I would do here in these asterisks, I would put DD MM YYYY, right? Just so we can know the format that they're taking the data on their website. All right, so let's hit continue. So then the human verification check is displayed, which that makes me wonder, are we going to be able to automate all the way up to here, right? But whatever, figure that out. When I click, I am not a robot, or maybe I am. Oh. So you see what we got here? It says that we're not able because we were on the UK website. Oops, we're unable to deliver to the United States from ASOS United Kingdom. No panic. You can still deliver to your select country by using the ASOS shop for United States. So I'll add it to this test case because we're here, but then delivery restrictions are displayed. I'm going to put in parentheses if shopping from the wrong if shipping the country that doesn't match site. All right, let's go with that. And then so I'm going to say when I click on change shop, then change shop pop up is, let's call it a modal. Modal is displayed when I click on OK. So that is what. So what I would do in this case, right? I would go back and update my test case to when I go to. I'm gonna do this incognito just so you can see this, right? I would see, and that way you're not bound to that origin to like your test case can change, right? As you learn new things about this, right? So when I go to ASOS.com, right? I didn't put any timer on. But we're gonna finish up pretty soon, right? Because so I'm here. I would say, let me see, where do you change the location? Let me see. All right, so when I give it on the home page and I choose deliver to United States. If I'm in the United States, you know, for this purpose, I'm going to choose United States because I work for ASOS US. And I click that and have updated the preferences to shop in the United States. All right, so we're just making a minor pivot, right? So now we're in the US and now we're gonna search for the same thing, women's sweatshirt. And look at that, we're already using our test case, right? Then the search results are listed. I click on the first item, right? And I choose my configuration, add to cart, and I say view bag, checkout, email address. All right, got that. Sign in, which we already did the join, so we don't have to do the sign in again, but I guess we could have went back and changed this to the sign in, right? We already did all that, so we don't have to. So now we're delivery address, right? And phone number, address finder. So let's say, okay, so let's say we're here, right? And we do, I'm gonna get rid of this, right? When I click on I'm not a robot, then let's say delivery address. And you could definitely have a test case for switching, like when you don't choose the right country, but that would not be an end-to-end test, right? That would just be like a specific testing on the site page, and then when I enter a mobile number of 954-555-4444. Oops, too many fives. Sorry. So that's the phone number. And I enter in address of let's do 705. Let's just do that address. 705 West 12th Ave, Hialeah. 705 West 12th Ave, Hialeah, Florida 33014. As I start to enter an address of, then the auto address complete shows the option when I choose that option. Keep trying to, all right, so if I do that, okay, I'm not really sure how their thing works. Let's try that again. 705. Oh, okay, hold on. So I can, okay. So, okay, 7055. And I click on this little arrow. Okay. So then so you see, so now you see how we're learning about what we're working on here. And this is why this is important, because if you skip this particular step because you don't understand it, then your test case is going to be incomplete. Right. So it's not that I choose that option. I click the arrow next to in the autocomplete. All right, so let's try that again. Let me just put this in here. 954-555-44. And I say 705 West. All right. 755. And I'm going to click this little arrow right here. Right. And I'm going to choose the first address. All right. And I choose the first address from the list. All right. And then I click ship to this address. Then the delivery address is updated with my chosen address. And delivery options are displayed. All right, so it's the type of delivery you want. When I choose the free shipping, and I click add a credit / debit card, then the payment information section is displayed. When I choose when I enter a credit card of 54004123 1234 1234. Right? Guess I can't paste it in there. 5004123 1234 1234. Right? All right, and then I choose an expiration date of, let's say we do December 2030, right? And the name on the card is yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph. And the CVV is 123. All right. So let's go with 12, 30, and Tech Coach Ralph. And CVV is 123. All right. So then, and I click use this card button. All right. We're almost done. Almost done. So this is a good spot to stop, because if you don't have because if you work for them, then they can probably give you like test credit card numbers that I go through. Right. But we don't have that. So I think this is a good spot. Right. So we can say here in our test, right? Then I get an error that this is an invalid card number. And I think that's a great spot to stop, right? That's a good end-to-end test because you get pretty much all the way to the end, right? So yeah, so let me come back on screen, full screen. We are, well, okay, before we do that, right? Let me save this, okay? Let's save this. Because we did a lot of work on this. Let me just copy in case anything bad happens. All right, so where we go, all the way. So manager of runs, notify. Okay. All right. So we have our checkout as new user with all the details of the steps. And one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go and do this right now, actually. If I can find, I had the same trouble last time. Editing these things. Where did I find it last time? I just wanted to give it some better spacing, but I don't remember how I got there last time. Let me see. So this part isn't very intuitive, to be honest. Search test cases. Let me see. Let me see. I don't know. It's okay. We will can always do this part another time. I just wanted to add some spacing, make it a little bit nicer, but not a big deal. So I think that is a good stopping point for tonight. We did the whole, so this is the whole test case, right? And I would like from you guys to install Docker, right? Install Docker and install Kiwi. So go back and follow the live stream from this past Sunday. Install Kiwi, add some test cases. You can add this. You can do this ASOS test case that I did, but I also want you to do the one for doing it as a registered user, right? And so it's like do it as a registered user. Navigate to a product, not using the search, right? So just do variations of my current end-to-end test. so that you can add it, so you can also have it, to get some practice. Because like you saw from, although my man Alexis has already departed for the night because it's like super late over there, right? But you saw what he said. Where is it? Where was it? So he said that would indeed impress him because of the preparation for the interview, but would be curious how the candidate has come to these test cases and stuff. All right, perfect. And good guy says, get instant results from presenting homework, instant job offer, right? Presenting what you did at home, like you're showing the initiative that you took to put work into it, right? So that's what I just this is like the first part of building that portfolio. Okay. Very, very important. All right. So put in the work. It'll be noticed, right? Like I told you, the person that I met with the other day, he wanted us to review his resume. We jumped on I reviewed his resume over the weekend, gave him some feedback. He made those updates. We met on a Tuesday. And he's been submitting it. A week later, he has 3 interview offers, right? Okay, I'm all about the results, right?
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
All right, so let's get it. So before we end off, right, I wanted to, let me get it from my phone. I wanted to go over the interview question in the Discord. Where is it? All right, cool. So we can do that. Let me do that. All right, interview questions. All right, so and we can turn off the timer because we are done for today with that. All right, so the question that I posed for this interview question is, you have reported a bug which you believe is substantial, but the product owner deems it not to be a bug or not a bug of importance. What would you do? How would you handle that? All right. So some of the answers that I got was, I will read the requirements again, check the user stories, ask devs, maybe it's working as designed, and if still would believe that this is a bug is substantial, we'll discuss with the product owner. If he doesn't agree, it means the bug is not important for this product since the product owner knows the product better. I'm going to come back to that about that part, right? So, and then another person says, I would have to see if this bug is bug that is substantial has an effect on the user story that is worked on. Actually, the person asked before they answered the question, which is good to ask questions before you actually answer, is was this bug found in production or was it found working on during a story in a sprint, right? So I said let's go with both scenarios, right? So the answer was I'd have to see if this bug that is substantial has an effect on the user story that is worked on, as my job as a QA is to advocate for the end user. The product is to meet their needs. If this bug affects that, then I would talk to the product owner and explain that this bug is having an effect on the value that the product is supposed to bring to the user. If that doesn't convince them, then that it would just get thrown into the backlog to be fixed or perhaps never. The product owner really has the final say for this coffin, as they are close with the client. Now, if that was found in production and has tremendous impact to where it was noticeable to the user, well, then the process in which we release software in production needs to change. Okay. All right. So then let's see who else we have. Right. All right. So another person said, I would try to reproduce the bug and if possible on different platforms, depending on what kind of product this is. Of course, double check the requirements, make good documentation, bug reports. I don't know if it's appropriate for a QA, junior QA, to request a meeting with the product owners, but I would do what I must to present my reasons for for believing this is a significant bug, at least to my supervisor to discuss the correct way to proceed. Okay, fair. All right. Okay. So, Maximus. All right. So for this question, it's important to understand what the interviewer is looking for. For they want to see a few things. Do you take pride in your work? Do you care about the quality? Are you going to advocate for the customer if there is a bug that will negatively impact the customer? Will negatively affect the customer impact during release? With that being said, remember to assume that the product owner has the best intentions and cares about the customer, and be diplomatic in your approach to resolve the issue. I would take a practical approach that is data-driven and focused to make my case. Find data that can show the customer impact. Let me find out how many customers does this bug affect. If we release with this bug, will it only affect 0.1% of customers or 50%? Gather customer feedback and copy and paste like 20 cases or as many negative feedback about this issue. If we release with this bug to our customers, we'll complain about it and it will impact our bottom line, but maybe we can live with it. And if we can, let me understand the issue, and maybe there are other bugs that take precedence, but after we ship it, I would still like to try to fix it since I've made the case that it is indeed a critical issue. All right, so those were our answers, right? And here is my feedback on some of the things that were said, right? So I agree that the product owner may have a closer relationship with the stakeholders and the clients, but I do not believe that the product us knows the software or the application better than us. And by us, I mean QA in particularly, right? Why do I say that? In my experience in history, the QA knows the product better than anybody else, right? And why is that? Because let's say there are 4 to 5 engineers, right? And 1 or 2 QA. Those QA engineers, they touch every aspect of the product. They touch it in different browsers. They touch it on different devices. They do positive scenarios, negative scenarios, all this type of stuff, right? Like QA knows the software like the back of their hand, right? Like, so the product itself, I say QA knows it better. The software engineers, they know the part of the product that they work on, right? But not necessarily the product as a whole itself, while QA is responsible for like testing the whole thing, right? So they'll have automated tests for the whole thing. They'll know how to do the end-to-end test. They know it. Like we're sharp on it, right? A lot of times the product owner, while they're getting the requirements, like when you're doing the sprint review, you're presenting the software to them as well. Like a lot of times the product owner is part of your stakeholders, right? So that doesn't mean they necessarily are familiar with how to use all the details of the product, right? So I just wanted to clear that up. I do not think that the product owners necessarily knows the actual product better than the QA team, right? And possibly business analysts as well. They those two, QA and business analysts, they are very familiar with the product, right? Now, as far as the product owner knowing the client better, it's so because as like if you are a like if you meet with the stakeholders and you're getting feedback from them and all that type of stuff, it's not like it. The product owner does have a better relationship with the clients and the stakeholders, but as a QA, like knowing all the ins and outs of it, you contribute a lot to that relationship, or at least you should. You shouldn't be off in the distance, just in your little corner, pressing a button to run automated tests or to manually test stuff. Like you should have a decent relationship with the client and the stakeholders as well, right? So I just want to put that out. Now, as far as the bug part, right? Here's my approach to it. If I report a bug, and what I do, depending on the severity of it, right? Or what I think the severity of it is, the first thing I do is I put it to the backlog, right? I add it, and then I share the bug with the team, right? So when I share the bug with the team, now everybody has visibility on it, and we can get feedback from everyone instead of one person making that decision. Because on a Scrum team in Agile, the product belongs to the team. The product owner is more of leading the direction of the project. Like they have a role in the project, but the project belongs to the whole entire team, right? So the project owner can get overridden by the rest of the team, right? It's very diplomatic, because we're working for the good of the company, the good of the product, the good of the team, the good of, most importantly, our clients. So everyone is a voice for the clients, and everyone has to make their case, right? Everyone has to make their case. And here in an interview, this is how I answered the question, right? Because if I think it's significant and the product owner like doesn't think it's that significant, and I make my case and everything like that, and I don't mind deferring to the product owner, because I can continue to monitor this, and because we're in Agile and we're Sprint, we can always bring this back to the front of the congregation and address it at that point. Like let's say, oh, I don't think it's a big deal, and we leave it the way that it is, or oh, it's not a bug, we leave it the way that it is. One, I have my documentation, and if we do close it, as we're not going to do, I'm going to close it saying, all right, this was reported, deemed by the product owner that this is not necessary to do, and then we'll close it, right? But we can always reopen it, and if it does become an issue in the near future, then we can always reopen it, create another story, and we can address it at that point, right? It's not the end of the world. So that's one of the ways that I would address it. The answers weren't necessarily wrong, but I just want to make it clear that it's not necessarily true that the product owner knows more about the product than you. They might contribute to gathering the stakeholder requirements and delivering it to the team, but knowing the actual product is mostly the QA engineers. They know the ins and outs of it. All right. So I just wanted to share that. And just, diplomatic approach to solving that. Say, okay, fine, we can close it, but I just want to I'll keep monitoring it. And if I see that it's coming up with a problem, I really like what Maximus said about looking at data to see like what is the impact on this. In like while you're developing it, you might not have that actual data, so you might actually have to release it to get that data to see how bad it is. I wouldn't like to do that because it's kind of like taking a gamble, playing Russian roulette. But it is what it is. So that's that. And if I had to choose somebody who I think got if I was interviewing that, I would give a double thumbs up to that answer. I would. Let me see. Oh, okay. Let me address this too before you do that. So AZ had said, I don't know if it's appropriate for a QA or junior QA to request a meeting with the product owner. If it's not okay, then I don't think that's a good company environment. But yeah, it's as QAs that are part of the development cycle, your voice matters. Your voice matters in refinement. Your voice matters in planning. Your voice matters in retrospectives. Your voice matters in sprint reviews. Your voice matters in stand-up. Your voice always matters. So I would, and I wouldn't even like necessarily have to request a meeting with the product owner. Like in Scrum, everybody's on the same playing field. So there's not somebody who's necessarily more important than you, more important than you, and you're not necessarily more important than someone else. We all have our roles to play. So if you have to request a meeting with the product owner, then by all means you would request a meeting with the product owner. But I would say that as well. I wouldn't even meet with the product owner in particular for that. I would probably like bring it up as a team discussion, like in a refinement or something like that. Share it with everyone and bring it up in a refinement if you have to. So just wanted to get that out there. And I would say. Let me see. I would say Maximus. So the only problem I have with Maximus's answer is like he didn't answer it directly as an interview question. He had a lot of extra wording to like a lot of extra context, where I'd prefer getting the answer and then giving the context after. But when he finally did get to the answer, he had a great answer. I like the data and stuff like that, and the details about the customer and the focus and stuff like that. And then I'd give a close second to A Duck Under the Porch, which because his answer was really good too. So I would say those two great answers. But everybody else did very good on their answers. I really like it. And we're gonna keep doing this because I think it's invaluable to that you guys start thinking about how you would answer these interview type questions. All right. So that is that. We are at the end of our show for tonight. I hope you enjoyed this exercise that we did writing test cases. It's a pretty and test cases can be pretty long because you're going from start to finish, but we can. So then I think next time we can start breaking down the tests into smaller segments for more specific tests, and we can also create a bug. All right. So that is that. We will like I said, there are no shows for the next coming week. So Sunday no show, Tuesday most likely no show. Thursday, most likely no show. Next Sunday, I'm not sure. Depends on what time I get back. I would like to, but I cannot guarantee it. But we'll find out. All right. So I'm not going to count out next week Sunday yet. That is a possibility, but I will keep you posted during the week. But if you haven't done so yet, my friends, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can know every time new content is released and when we go live, and share the video with somebody who will find it useful, and we will have some more fun. But it is that time of the night where I must depart from you, and I will see you guys again and again and again. But until next time, my friends.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
north. Today we have tasted the sweet nectar of victory. Our foes indeed defeated, and their lands are now bow before us. The gods themselves have favored our glorious deeds on this glorious day. We have shed blood, sweat, and tears to claim this land. Our relentless spirit, our unyielding determination. These are the very essence of our people. It's been our ancestors rejoice in the halls of Valhalla. For today, we have added to their eternal glory. Our victories will echo throughout the ages, and our names will be etched in the annals of history. But let us not forget the present pain the brothers and sisters we lost. They now feast in the hall of our forefathers, watching over us with pride. Their sacrifice has paved the way for this moment of triumph. As we celebrate this conquest, let us also remember that our journey is far from over. More land awaits our conquest, more battles upon us forth, and the fire in our hearts burn ever brighter, for there is no limit to what we can achieve. To those who dare stand against us, let them tremble in fear, for they shall witness the fury of the northern storm, the wrath of the untamed barbarians. Today we celebrate our victory. Tomorrow, we set our sights on new horizons, uncharted land where our banners will fly high. We are Vikings, we're barbarians, we are masters of conquest.
We the best. Let's get it. They ain't believing us.